very easily to understand. Looks like Emmanuel is joining us. Say hello to Emmanuel.
Manny, how are you?
Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, guys.
Emmanuel, were you here at the class when I was away? Or I missed
I
you?
I I tried to log in a couple times, but I had to leave. I
No
apologize.
problem. No, because he said because the person who took over, I said there was a certain person who asked very good questions. I was wondering if that was you.
No, it wasn't me.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Haber. Good. Welcome. Happy to have you back. Good morning, Mr. Haber. Okay, Mr. Haber is here. So what we're doing,
What's the double parasha again?
Bahar b'chukotai. It's the end. It's the end of
Uh,
Sefer.
yeah, I have it right here.
It's the end of Sefer Vayikra. So we're doing
Got
a
a bit
little.
shedding on.
The treat is that we're focusing. Today is Friday, Erev Shabbat. So we're going to start off focusing on about the parasha this week, specifically the commentary of the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, that he has 42 shatim, 42 comments on the first pasuk of the parasha. Is that fascinating? 42 different comments. And I want to share some of them with everybody. The pasuk says, "B'chukotai telechu." If you go in my chukim. Now here we are. We're getting ready for Memorial Day weekend, and there's a tremendous amount of traveling that will be taking place in the world. People are traveling by car, by train, by plane, all over. And there's a special mitzvah that when you travel, you should learn Torah on your travels, right? It takes time. Traveling, it consumes a lot of time. And the pasuk says, "Uvalech baderech." The Torah says that when you are traveling on the road, you're supposed to be studying Torah. So that is one idea that you could also say b'chukotai telechu. That if in the pasuk says it's a great reward for a person who takes the chukim with him. It means the Torah is part of your life. That it's not just in the Beit Midrash. Torah is not only here in the Safra Synagogue or in Ralph's synagogue in his town, or Emmanuel's synagogue, wherever people are, in all different places. But Torah has to be Torah to go. We are living in a generation of the to go, the to go generation. We take it to go, right? The fast food generation that you would take it to go. But there's the food, there's the physical food, and there's the spiritual food. And that food we need to take with us wherever we go. So that's an idea that it's alluding to in the pasuk says the word halicha of going. It's alluding to the idea that you have to go ahead and take a safer learn when you travel. The Kitzur Shulchan Aruch says that when a person travels, he says you should pack a safer with you. Right, Mr. Haber? Some people pack food, right? People pack food and drink. Got to be very hydrated, right? We're worried about the hydration, but we also have to be worried about the spiritual hydration. How do you like that, Ralph? We have to be hydrated. We have to make sure we take a safer with us. Today, many people just people have a phone with them wherever they go. So, they have that opportunity. There's opportunities on the phone to learn on the phone. There's always opportunities, and people need to go ahead and take it to go. And Orach Chaim brings a pasuk from Mishlei, which talks about the love of Torah. When you love something that you love, you'll take with you. Person's interested in certain things. Even when he's traveling, he's going to talk about the things that are important to him, that he loves so much, and therefore we need to go ahead and take the Torah with us when we travel. Now, he brings the second shot. He says that you should be like David HaMelech, King David. What was King David? What was so unique about King David? King David, he got up in the morning and he had a lot of places to go and people to meet. You're King David, right? But even though you have a lot of places to go, places and people to meet, where did his feet take him? Where did he naturally go? You know, some people, they get up in the morning, they're going right for the coffee, right? They're going right for the coffee. It's natural, right? Ralph, right? Some people are like that. Am I correct? Here it goes. They got the coffee with the bracha, with the beautiful bracha, right? So that's natural. King David, his feet took him to the Beit Midrash. How do you like that, Mr. Haber? That was King David's the way he acted. And he only reached that level because of his great love for Torah, that this was so natural, and this was so primary in his life that was automatic. He trained himself that he reached this level that automatically he's going to go do the right thing. Automatically he's going to prioritize his Torah study. So that's the pasuk says. David got up in the morning. He thought about what he needed to do. I have a lot of things to do. I got a lot of things on schedule today. I'm the king of Israel, right? I got a lot of things to do. But his feet took him to the Beit Midrash. And that is because of the Rov HaChefetz v'Haratzon v'Haragiz B'Davar. Because of his great love for Torah, his great learning on a regular basis. That's how it's supposed to be in the morning when it comes to going to Minyan in the morning. It's not supposed to be a challenge to go to Minyan, to go to a synagogue in the morning. It's supposed to be, this is automatic. This is what I've trained myself. When I spoke to some of the college students recently, and I said, it's not supposed to be a challenge for keeping Shabbat. It's supposed to be, this is the norm. This is automatic. I've trained myself, this is my norm. And that's what David HaMelech regarding the Beit Midrash. Another pshat he says, another pshat he says, it says, Mishlei Shlomo HaMelech says, B'chol derachecha de'ehu. With whatever all your ways, you should know God in everything that you do. And the Maimonides, the Rambam writes the following. A person, people go to the gym. Rambam doesn't talk about the gym, but he talks about person taking care of himself, working hard to be healthy, to eat healthy, to stay in shape, to do healthy, have healthy habits. That is a mitzvah, because that is whatever you're doing in life, you're supposed to do it with a higher purpose. And I'm doing this because it's to serve Hashem. Whatever I do, you go to business, you work, Hashem gives you a living. You're living, you're able to support your family. That's a mitzvah to support your family. You're working for the right reasons. You're working, you want to support Torah institutions, right, Mr. Haber? You're working to do great things, mitzvot with it. You're going to the gym, you should have strength, to be in good shape, to do the right thing, to do great things in life. You eat well, you're eating, you're drinking, you're able to be healthy. And then when you're healthy, the Rambam says, you cannot learn and be on top of your game and accomplish and be productive when your person's not healthy as when someone is healthy. Someone's healthy, they can accomplish so much more as a Jew. And therefore, whatever you're doing, you should have that mindset. Even when you sleep, I should have strength to do mitzvot, strength to serve God, strength to do the right things, have clarity of mind, proper mindset to act properly, proper chemical balance in my life. And that's the bechukos. That's the Rambam says, it comes out, you can have a person that his whole life he's serving Hashem. His whole life, 24/7. How can wait, Rabbi, 24/7? I'm working from 9 to 6 every day, and I'm eating and I'm drinking and I'm sleeping. What do you mean the whole life? What is the way we said it is whatever you're doing to for a higher purpose, to serve Hashem, to be a proper Jew. And and that's what he wants to fit that. It's alluding, this pasuk, this week's parsha is alluding to this point. Because it says, "Im b'chukotai teilechu," that if b'chukotai means my statutes, meaning if what your actions, if everything that you do in life, teilechu, where you're going, all your ways is b'chukotai, in order for Torah to be kept, Torah to be learned. I'm doing all these things in my life, whatever I do, in order to lead a life of Torah, to lead a proper life, to have the strength. So that if you do that, then there's tremendous, and you keep all the mitzvot, there's tremendous reward for such a person. Now, he says, it says in Pirkei Avot, Lo Amoritz Chasid. Someone who is an Amoritz, someone who is an unlearned Jew, not educated, doesn't study Torah, he's not able to be a pious Jew. Why can't he be pious if he's unlearned? Because you don't know what you're allowed to do and you're not allowed to do. And he says an amazing thing. He says, listen to this story. He says, if a person is an uneducated Jew, it could be that he'll make a stringency upon himself, which actually, good morning, Asaf. Asaf, we're doing something a little different today in honor of Memorial Day. We're doing something a little different. We're focusing on a commentary on this week's parsha of the Orach Chaim, that he has 42 comments on the first pasuk of the second parsha that we're reading this week of the Chukotai. So we're doing something a little different today. So he says, sometimes a person, if you don't know what the law is, and you only go on based on what you think the law might be, you could be making a very big mistake in Torah, in following the Torah. He says, there's a mitzvah. He says it's a mitzvah in the Torah that a person has to be intimate with one's wife. That's a mitzvah, right? There's a mitzvah in the Torah that the Torah says you have to provide food for your wife, you have to provide clothing for your wife, and also it says you have to provide relations for your wife, intimacy for your wife. Now, if a person who's pious, who wants to be very pious, but is not learned, he might say, you know what? He might say, maybe he should be intimate with his wife on the holiest day of the year. Wouldn't that be a great idea? He wants, the child that's born from a union that took place on such a holy day will have a great positive effect on the child. So he says, you know what? Yom Kippur. What's one of the holiest days of the year? Yom Kippur, such a holy day. So he says, you know what? That's the day he's going to want to be intimate with his wife. And we know that Yom Kippur is one of the days that a person is not allowed to be intimate with. It's a very serious sin to be intimate with one's wife on Yom Kippur. But how does that happen? How does a person come to that conclusion? Because he was not educated. So therefore, it's so important for a person to be educated. I don't like when people say, Rabbi, it's better that I don't know. I don't know. That's better. That mindset. Okay, that's the wrong mindset. We need to be educated. There's a carbon chatat. There's a sin offering that if a person violates the Shabbat, if you want to be careful on the chair, Mr. Ava. You're good at the chair? If a person violates the Shabbat unintentionally, he has to bring a karma chatat, a sin offering. The guy goes ahead. I didn't know, Rabbi. I didn't know I can't boil up the water on Shabbat. Right? He likes coffee, so he gets up every Shabbat morning, and he boils up the water for coffee. What do you mean? You just cook? You cook the water? I didn't know. I can't boil up the water on Shabbat. Right? I'm afraid there might be people that don't know that. Right? So why didn't he know that? Because he didn't learn the law. So he has to bring a sin offering, because being uneducated is not an excuse. So that is now. So that's what the pasuk says. Im b'chukotai telechu. If you learn the Torah, because as Rashi explains, b'chukotai telechu refers to the study of Torah. If you will learn Torah, then ve'et mitzvotai tishmeru. That is going to be the fence. That's going to guard the fulfillment of the mitzvot. If you want people to keep mitzvot, what needs to be done to ensure that people keep the mitzvot? What is the best safeguard? What is the best security? You know, there's a very big increase in security. I was told here in Safra yesterday, one of the guards, one of the security, that they're on high alert after what happened the other night in Washington. And the pasuk, but we have to know there's something called security to ensure the safety of a person's the physical, which the security that the guards they could do their best, but we need Hashem to shomer Yisrael, to guard, but we have to take our actions, we have to do our shtadlut, and therefore we're supposed to increase security when there's more security threats, we're supposed to do that. But that's a protection, that's a fence to protect the security of the people. So the security to protect the Torah, that is the learning of the Torah. To protect, to ensure that people keep the mitzvot, that people actually follow the Torah. If people don't learn Torah, they don't even know what they're missing. They don't even know, they might not even know they have to say a bracha on something. They don't even know what bracha to say on it. If they're not learning, they don't know that they can't boil a tea kettle on Shabbat. They might not know certain things. So that is the importance. That's what the pasuk is also alluding to. Another amazing idea is, you know, I just came back from a trip to Israel, right? As you know, I came back yesterday from a trip to Israel. I visited the boys in the yeshivot during the gap year in Israel, which is a phenomenal thing. And we recommend everybody's family members, friends, to take a gap year when they finish high school, to go to Israel to study in a real yeshiva. And I visited Ashkenaz and Sephardi yeshivot in Israel. And it's amazing what their boys, and there's also, by the way, you show the girls, it's very important for the girls as well. It's very common in the Ashkenaz community that the girls go to Israel for the gap year. I don't know exactly how common in the Sephardi world, that it needs to be looked into more. But for the Ashkenazic girls, it's doing an amazing thing, Mr. Haber. It's doing an amazing thing because a lot of the girls that come in from modern Orthodox schools, and a lot of the boys that are coming from modern Orthodox schools, or even not modern Orthodox, just regular, by Sparta, we don't call them, we don't say modern Orthodox, correct, Ralph? Traditional schools, but they grow tremendously in their observance, both because of what we just said, because by learning Torah, they know what to do now, and it's a different level of learning, a different dedication to learning in Israel. They're spending the whole day instead of the part of the day like they do during high school days. But there's another thing. They made a move. They left home, they traveled 6,000 miles away from home. In the city in New York, there's a lot of distractions here. And they leave a lot of that behind, and they travel to a place, to a yeshiva, And that is a big deal. When you leave your hometown, you're going away. What are you going away for? You want to have fun, you can have fun in New York. You're going away to Israel, and they're going away for the purpose of learning Torah. That really makes a great difference in their growth. The Gemara says there were people, it was common in Israel that they would travel from Israel to Bavel, to Babylon to learn, and they would travel from Bavel, from Babylon to Israel to learn. That was a common thing that they did, and they did it for a purpose because they had much more free time when you're away from home. There's a lot more free time on your hands. There's less getting busy with other things, and that is and that is what they did in those days. And therefore, the pasuk is saying, "Im b'chukotai telechu." If you will go travel, if you will travel, I mean the way to learn Torah, the way he wants to say, he said like this: "Im b'chukotai." For learning Torah, which we said chokotai means to learn Torah, telecho. You need to go ahead and go. You got to make moves. Whether you got to go ahead and go to Israel, or Israel, you have to travel to another place, and really in a small way. Obviously, you have to. A person said, "I'll learn at my house." That's not sufficient. Yes, you learn at your house when you can't be somewhere else in a Beit Midrash or in a yeshiva or in a shul. But when you could go ahead and be in a shul, in a yeshiva, then don't be learning in the house when you have capable of learning, being part of a group learning, when you're capable of being in a shul and a yeshiva. B'chukotai telechu. You have to leave. You have to leave the comforts of the home. Yes, we spoke about the lech lecha b'derech. We spoke about that when you travel, when you're traveling, you take the Torah with you. You learn Torah on your trip. And of course, the pasuk says, "Lech lecha b'derech b'shivtecha b'veitecha." Right? It says when you're sitting in your house, you have to learn Torah. That's true. But you also have to make sure to go to places to learn, not only in your house. The idea of sitting in Torah in your house is that this is your love. If you love Torah, if you reach the level of love of Torah, so therefore in your house you're going to be studying Torah. What do people do in the houses? You see the magazines all around, the newspapers all around the house, right? But how many people have a sefer on the table? How many people have holy svarim, in their house to study from? I know, many of you do, but not everybody has that. But every home. Sometimes I would say to some of my college students, "Do you have a chumash in your dorm room? Do you have a stone chumash in your apartment? You don't have a chumash. You don't have one holy sefer in your dorm room." Yes, Ralph. You want to say something or not?
No, no, no. I was just thinking that my daughters are half Ashkenazi, half Sephardi, so they have best of both worlds. They both went to Israel to study.
Oh, that's great. That's really, really great. Okay, so that is the need, that you have to go ahead and travel for Torah. Now, let's see some other. It says, yeah, Hashem says. Let's try to see some other commentaries that he says over here. He says, when Hashem You know what? Maybe I'll just share another idea. You know, the pasuk says in this week's parsha, Hashem says, "I'm going to promise." Hashem promises rain, right? The pasuk says, "V'natati gishmechem b'itam." If you keep the mitzvot, you keep the Torah, you're going to have rain. You're going to have different types of reward. The pasuk says, "V'nasati shalom," and you're going to have "V'nasati shalom ba'aretz." I'm going to place peace in the world. That meaning Hashem promises all this financial reward, and after Hashem promises the financial reward, He goes ahead and He says, "And I'm going to give peace into the land. You're going to lie down and you're going to go to sleep, and you're not going to be afraid. There won't be any sword going in your land. You're going to chase after your enemies." So Rashi says a beautiful idea. Rashi says, he quotes a Torah Kanim. He says, "Shemer Tomru," you might say, "Hari machal v'hari mishteh." I am giving you food. Good morning. I'm giving you food. Have a Shabbat Shalom. I'm giving you food. I'm giving you drink. But im ein shalom ein klum. But if you don't have peace, you have nothing. And therefore Hashem says, not only God says, I'm going to promise you food, I'm going to give you food and drink. What else I'm going to do? V'natati shalom ba'aretz. I'm also going to give peace. And mikan, from here we derive shalom, peace is equal to everything. And we say, what do we say? Yosef Avar Choshech. What are we saying? What are we going to say in the davening this morning? Yosef Ar, Hashem, He creates light, and He creates darkness. Ose Shalom, He makes peace. God is the peacemaker. As we say, Sim Shalom, we ask Hashem to give the peace. He's Adon HaShalom. He's the one who Mavarechas Amo Yisrael B'Shalom. So, Ose Shalom, Uvarech Hakol. He makes peace and He creates everything. That means the whole everything is on one side. Uvarech Hakol. He creates everything. That means all the food, all the drinks, all the physical, material wealth in the world. That's on one side. But it's also Shalom Uvarech et Hakol. He creates everything. Everything is on one side and peace is on the other. Peace is equal to everything. So when you have this insight of the rabbis, what the rabbis teach us, how do we look at peace? Do we look at peace that if you don't have peace, you have nothing? A lot of people are willing to fight among each other. And what's the purpose of the fight? Usually the purpose of the fight is money, power, right? A lot of family, sometimes the Satan encourages families to fight. And when they fight, so they're fighting, they think they have a purpose to fight. They think they're fighting because they'll have a gain out of it. But they have to realize if there's no shalom, if there's no peace in the families, you got nothing. So therefore, we got to go ahead and how much are people willing? See, now there's a new thing. You're not really giving up when you have peace. When a person goes ahead and works towards peace, and you think, I'm going to give up $1,000, $100,000 in order to have peace. I gave up $100,000, but really you got everything. As a result of making the peace, what did you get? Now you have bracha. Now you have everything. Because whatever you had on one side, peace is equal to everything else. So therefore, when a person has to look at it, when you have a disagreement and you go ahead and you work it out and you fixed it, you have to realize that the tremendous gain that you got what you because if you would not have made the peace, you have nothing. And I don't know if people understand this enough. I don't know if people have that recognition to look at peace in that way. You know, we have in Pahashas Bahar in this week, we have the idea of Shemitah, that every 7 years there was a Shemitah year. There was a year that you couldn't work the fields, couldn't plow, couldn't harvest. It's a year off. And what was the whole purpose of the Shemitah? The purpose of the Shemitah that people should know about Hashem. That people should recognize that who is the owner of the land. You know, people forget. People get used to when they work a land, and what happens? The food comes out, and everything. They start thinking it's all me, and they don't recognize. They don't keep focus that it's Hashem that's giving the blessing to the land. And if you understand that the land comes from Hashem, it's an amazing year of recognition to say who is the owner, who's the boss. You know, if the fact I'm told I can't work this year, that means I don't own the land. The land belongs to Hashem, like the pasuk says, "Hashem haaretz umloah." The world belongs to God. And then we have another pasuk that says, "Va'aretz nasan natan levnei adam." We have another pasuk that says that Hashem gave the world, the land, to man. So who does it belong to? So the Gemara says, before you say a bracha, the land belongs to God. After you say a bracha, and the land, then it belongs to you. That gives you the right. If you don't say a bracha on the food, then you're stealing. So Hashem gave this Shemitah year, and Hashem was going to take care of the people. He's going to give them blessing that they're going to be able to have enough food. It's not that he's going to starve them. He's giving them a mitzvah, an amazing mitzvah, which also is a mitzvah in emunah, a faith. And when Jews keep the Shemitah, they recognize Hashem it's like you have 6 days a week you work, and the seventh day is Shabbat, 6 years you work, seventh day Shemitah. And that the seventh year of Shemitah will give you the emunah to carry you for the next 6 years. I want to wish everyone a beautiful Shabbat. Thank you all for joining. Now, Monday, what time works I'll reach out to everybody about Monday, what time works for everybody. You two, all the best. Thank you very much. I'll bring your phone upstairs. To see you. Keep up your good work.